It is done. It is big, it is massive, and it is absolutely beautiful. I present the LS-72 VULCABREAKER Mk.III. I finally finished it. Here's the video. Enjoy. Hello friends, hello YouTube, how are you going? Rainbow coming at you with yet another Nerf mod video. Oh no, it's been a while. Finally, I get to record one of these videos again. I am super excited. I hope you guys are too. Thanks for sticking around, by the way. I know it has been a couple of timelines since you saw one of these videos, but I am super happy to restart the Nerf mod videos on the channel with the most epic build that I could have possibly picked for this. And yes, you have seen it in the intro. We are talking about the LS-72 VULCABREAKER Mk.III. Let's have a look at it in detail. It's resting over here. Let's get it into some light outside. And we are back. I don't know if I can hold this entire thing for the entire video, but this is it. As you've just had the overview, this is the beauty. Now you can see it in relation, in scale to the person that made it. It's about yay size. This is 1 meter tall and about 2.5 kilos heavy when it is fully charged, loaded and everything. I just love how this turned out. So again, as you can see, everything in this light, in this setting, it is nice and sparkly. And now let's talk about what there is to talk about. Oh my god, this build has been in the making for quite a long time. For those of you who followed me or follow the channel, you have seen part of this 2 years ago, and if you've actually followed it for longer than that, you've also seen part of it about 5 years ago, and another part of it about 6 or 7 years ago even. That's ridiculous. All right, so what is this? What do we have? What are we talking about? We are talking about a Nerf integration. So for those of you who don't know what that is, check out the other videos. But also, this is where we cut off Nerf blasters and shapes and we create something new from the plastic parts that we have. So in this integration, in its final form, like you see it here, there's a total of 9 different Nerf blasters worked into this one. This shape only exists once because I built it here. For all you Nerf models out there, I know this, you know this. But for everyone else, you know, it's always quite nice to explain to people what we do. So there's a whole lot of sanding involved. There's a whole lot of epoxy work involved. There's a whole lot of putty. There's a whole lot of glue. There's a whole lot of blood, sweat and tears in every one of these builds. So yes, this is what we're talking about. So the VULCABREAKER Mk.III LS-72, the number is, consists of 9 blasters, as I've already said. The core blaster, the functioning one, is the Nerf Demolisher, which normally has its rocket launcher right here. That's been cut off and replaced by a retaliator barrel, and that was the initial start to the thing. So I'm going to throw a picture up here right now from the initial cut. And as I said, the Demolisher, the cut on the Demolisher was the thing that was done first on this build, and that was back in, I'm going to say 21, but the Demolisher cut probably was even in 2019. It was one of these projects that I wanted to do, and I've been working on lots of demolishers at the time, and I'm like, yep, cool. And then I remember somebody asked me if I could do a tutorial on how to cut off the base of the Demolisher and replace it with a retaliator rail, which I then did in a couple of videos and a couple of photos for that person with that very thing, picture right here, in that sort of shape and scenario. But then I kind of forgot about it for a while, and then I found some other parts. And I had this idea that I would build an integration project from this Demolisher by only using blood. I don't know if you saw that, but that light just went off. Weird. We're going to continue the video anyways because I really can't be asked to redo the thing and then rig that. But Damn it. Charging batteries, woohoo! Yes, we're good at video recording and getting our equipment ready in time. All right, continue. So, I then decided that the demolisher, the core blaster, so the part from here to here-ish, would be the only blaster that I use for this, the only blaster that I cut up. Everything else I then decided had to come from my spare parts bin. And then, all right, so I looked at what I've got, and I had the back of a crossbolt, and the Praxis stock, and the front of a Centurion, and then those parts kind of just sort of mingled together, gave the picture kind of like this. And then I was like, oh, this, I like the idea where this is going. And then I decided, okay, let's go from there. And that's how the project kind of just sort of rested in a box for forever until MergeMasters 24 came around. And MergeMasters 24, I then decided, okay, look, there's a big ass category called Gestalt. At the time, it had to be 5 blasters or more. And then I'm like, I did double check with Nathan and everyone else in charge if I could use the startup project of the demolisher, the cut up parts that haven't been glued together except for a piece of tape. If I could use this as an entry, and they go like, yeah, well, if you add more, then we can do this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to enter this to MergeMasters 2024, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to finish it, and all of that. And yes, if you've seen the video, there is a video as a MergeMasters 24 build update on the channel as well, which is also why I'm not going to be going into the way depth detail about what I built here, because if you're interested in that, go check out that video, because that talks about all the bodywork and the placement and all of that, because most of that was already done during MergeMasters 24. But then, however, life happened as it is. Life happens and does things. This is getting really heavy in one hand. And because with life being that busy, I ended up not finishing the blaster in 24, which was quite sad. But then I was like, yeah, I remember the end. I just watched the end of that video. It's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to finish this. It's going to be on the bench, and I'm going to be just the next one that I'm going to work on. That's going to, yep. And then almost 2 years went by, and I did not work on it because, yeah, life happens. Busy with other projects, and it kind of went away. And then MergeMasters 26 came around, and in MergeMasters 26, I feel like I got called out because they made a category just for me. They obviously didn't name it the rainbow category, but they went and did a category which I've never done before, which is basically just grab whatever started project that you find and finish it. They called it the veteran category, and it was allowed to finish any project. And it doesn't matter the state, if it's just started or if it's only like the wiring that needs to be done, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay, Nathan, I hear you calling. Okay, Caster, I hear you calling. So I will finish this then, which is what I did. This is why I have built this and finished this build over the last couple of months, and also entered it in MergeMasters 26. So, shout out in between. If you're watching this video before May 27th, 2026, the voting for MergeMasters is still going on. So by release of this video, you should have 3 more days to vote. So if you want to go vote, please go vote and check out the other blasters. There's so many great blasters this year. Again, community is insane. I love all of you guys. But there's a link in the description to a Google document. It requires a Google account to vote, but then you can, there's 3 categories, different blasters you can vote. And in the biggest category, the veteran category, I really hope that you vote for this beautiful, beautiful blaster. But obviously, you know, you're free to vote for whichever blaster you desire the most. But please go vote. And obviously, please go vote for this one. The voting is open until, I think it's midnight, May 27th, 26. Yes, May 27th in 2026. And so, yeah, if you're watching this video before then, go vote. If you're watching the video after that, thanks for watching anyway. Stick around. I'm going to talk more about the blaster and the things and what it does. And yes, MergeMasters will happen again next year. It's definitely something to keep an eye out. Go check out, if you watch the video at a later time, go check out the MergeMasters gallery anyways, because it's phenomenal. All right, back to the thing. So I then finished this. So now what do we talk about? As I said, about the setup and all the bodywork I talked in the other video. So if you're interested in more depth, please go check this out. Now here is a picture, putting it over here this time just for, you know, fun and changes. This is what the plan was and what it sort of looked like when I started MergeMasters this year. So you can see all the different parts. If you want to pause the video at this point, you can actually zoom in and try to find all the 9 different Nerf blasters that are in there. You'll be looking for a Demolisher, a Centurion, a Crossbolt, a Longshot, a Saturn, a Retaliator, a Crossfire, and a Praxis. I ended up not counting right. It doesn't matter. It's definitely 9. I counted it so many times. Yes. So now let's talk about what happened after this picture. So it was all the epoxy work, and if you've never done a Nerf integration, you don't know this, but if you've ever done it, you know how much work is involved in seamless epoxy work. So basically you end up epoxying all the plastic parts together and then trying to sand down the connection beads, so you're not actually able to tell where the seam line is. So like this is what I've been trying to do here, like sanded this all down so it's all one piece, one nice beautiful piece all the way in the front here. Like especially the work along the edges there, just right there, it's very important to get it straight and straight here. It looks kind of cool if I look over this like that. Anyhow, lots of epoxy work and lots of sanding, and to be honest, I do actually like the sanding stage. And if you're interested in more in-depth about the build, go check out my Instagram, by the way, Rainbow Mods and Props. There are several posts about the stages that happened, so you can follow all of these. If you have any questions about any of these, feel free to send me a message, shout me, and I'll help you along. All right, I love the sanding stage because things start to take shape, quite literally. And once the sanding was done, we obviously talk about paint job. Again, it's built up in the same manner than everything else is, every other paint job is done. So we started off with a base coat, just a general grey, and we went over with 2 layers of automotive silver. Then we got some grey silver, some gunmetal silver in the front and in the back, and then we taped all that off. So it's like masking tape there, and then we taped all that off to the green on. Then we got all the green on, and then we did some detailing using an airbrush. So basically that one in the front here, and a lot of the used look. Then we did a little coat of clear to protect the detail work. Then we did the weathering, which was done using rub and buff, gilding wax, dry brushing, and just a lot of colors in terms of basic weathering process. So like watery colors, put all over the shop, wiped it down to give it a sort of natural used look kind of thing. You know the drill. So that is the stuff here. The name on the side here, LS-72 VULCABREAKER Mk.III. It's cut out from a stencil. Now, why all these things? So VULCABREAKER as the name, because I felt like it sounded cool. It has a Vulcan in it. It's broken in half, sort of, but also with the theme, like from when it started being like really small to like being this big of a monstrosity of a blaster, I kind of always had in my head, I always had like a plasma rifle that I was kind of going for. That's kind of sort of the theme that I was going for. This was supposed to be like a heavy duty scope, rifle kind of thing, but a plasma-ish rifle, kind of sci-fi-esque sort of looking like, but still heavy duty, right? That's kind of what I had in mind for it. And so the name VULCABREAKER just sort of fit. Now the LS-72 is my running signature, and because the projects always get their number when I start them, that is why this got 72, even though I'm now up way over 100 at this point. It got 72 because that's when it started. It was next in line, 72. Therefore I kept it. And Mk.III, because this is the 3rd time I started working on this with the intent to finish it, and now I finally did, therefore Mk.III. Now, the stuff in the front here is just airbrush, so it's meant to sort of, look like plasma-ish behind here, like right there, which it kind of sort of does. It works a lot better in natural lighting, but you can sort of see it now. It's all airbrush and it's all UV active, so it glows a little bit. And yeah, other than that, that is all of the sort of outside, no, not quite. We have a couple of more things to talk about. So, but that's the paint job. Talked about the paint job. I really, normally I have a structure sort of down on my screen here that you guys can't see. Today I was like, nah, I'm just gonna wing it. This is first take, by the way. And we're not gonna do a ton of editing, by the way. And yeah, I just don't, I should have looked at one of my videos to sort of see the way that I'm normally doing. Anyways, you're along for the ride. I hope you enjoy it. All right, now what else have we built? Obviously this foregrip is from a Saturn. This entire setup is very big. As I said, it's a meter, and it's very large, but it's for my wingspan. As demonstrated in the other video, I have a huge wingspan. It doesn't even fit on the thing. It's about 1 meter and 95 centimeters, which is why this needs to be long for me to have it comfortably resting here. This is just beautiful. For everyone else, I understand this is way too big. And way too long, but if you're my size, this works comfortably. Oh, words are hard this morning. Anyways, what else have we got? The front of a Centurion as our scope, which is just sort of a standard scope. I don't know if you can, there's nothing in between, there's just like the barrel. I was thinking of having a little 3D printed inlay here, but to be honest, it's too much trouble to get aligned, and then I ended up forgetting about it. So, because, you know, with the stress of everything, I needed to finish this in time, this time. And yeah, right, we got the Centurion foregrip, which is super comfy foregrip, and then the Centurion bipod integrated here. Did I say Saturn? I meant Saturn. Centurion bipod, and now the beauty of this is that actually folds down, and then the blaster rests on this like you've seen on the picture, and it works beautifully. Now this entire piece is not even actually glued in place. It is integrated into the Centurion front just by itself and by its screws, and it's integrated well enough so it's just sitting there being held with its original 4 screws. And yes, you can actually fold it either way, so it could go this way, which would make no sense because then you can't use the grip. But I have shortened these nupsies on the front on purpose, so they actually fold down like so, quite nicely. As you can tell, they fold down really well. They are just enough space in between here. And yeah, so overall this works, and I'm super pleased with how that turned out. It was one of these luck of the draw moments where I'm like, does that fit? And it didn't just fit, it just fit perfectly. Now let's talk about what's going on internally. As I said, the Demolisher is the functioning blaster. We cut the rocket launcher off. We have standard size darts, and that is it. It is a simple Demolisher rewire. I haven't put any LEDs in this build at this time. Kind of wanted to, but then I ditched it because I ended up doing things a whole lot differently than I planned in the first run. We're running on 2S with a LiPo sitting in the back here. I'll talk about that in a second. And the setup is a 3D printed OFP cage, 43mm crush, Fang revamp motors on Bulldog flywheels, which gets me a perfect average of 130 FPS, which was the aim for this blaster. And not just does it get the perfect 130 FPS, it also has just a ever so satisfying sound when it shoots because of that massive Vulcan barrel that sits in the front. It gives it a really sort of dark oomph-ish when you shoot it. But yeah, listen for yourself. I just love that. That is absolutely fantastic. Short round magazine, because as I said, it was meant to be a rifle type thing, so I made a secondary magazine, which is a lot shorter. One was short. Anyways, absolutely works like a charm. Does 130 on average with standard size waffle head darts, which is perfect, which is what I was going for. And so that are the internals. And now the one thing that I needed to talk about is the thing in the back here. This is the back part of the crossbolt. And this is normally the mag release and the magazine placement for the crossbolt. But since I'm not using this, I felt this would be perfect to put the battery, because a 2S LiPo does not fit in here, and I didn't want to do the shenanigans of fitting it underneath here, just because I can open this, but like getting with the scope, getting under here, like normal mods would put a 2S LiPo into the jam door, which worked great, but it's just not enough space to comfortably get to it. So I decided I wanted to do it with the back magwell. And my initial idea was I'm just going to cut up a 6-round magazine and then just put it in here and then put the LiPo in there. Cut up because the Praxis stock is integrated that goes up to about here. So the magazine needs to kind of cut out like so for this to all fit, because this is integrated so you can actually put some pressure onto it, because that's what a shoulder shock should do, right? Anyways, as you can see on the picture here, I ended up not using that one because, again, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen the video. There was a problem with the battery being just about a couple of millimeters too wide for the 6-round magazine that I prepared. And I only like saw that like in the last week of building this, and like, need a solution. And again, 3D printing comes to the rescue. Woohoo! A big shout out again at this point to a user called Lucian on Printables, who uploaded the step files for his original design that I was then able to download and modify to fit this blaster. So without him, the design wave would have been a whole lot more, and I'm super, super happy that his design is out there. So shout out, I'll leave the links in the description, give him an endorsement and all of that, because that was great. But now what basically happens is, like, if you pull down the mag release here, you can pull this out, and this gets you all the cable management. It was weird to put on the table. And the LiPo just sits in here. Now this is the backup fuse. And then if I was to get this out, you can see the LiPo just chilling in there. And that is the entire setup. I really thought that would be a cool idea, and then I have the cable management right here. So as you can tell, this is not like an easy just sort of fit in. Like, in all honesty, actually to put the battery in, I put the blaster on the table in front of me, and then I figure out the cable management, which brought me instantly to the next idea. So how cool would this be if this would actually be like a cartridge, which has like the LiPo connected to a connector here that would then, when you plug it in, connect to the connector in there, and when you pull it out, disconnects there. So that's where I want to go with this design. So, if you're interested in that, leave a follow. I don't know when I get to it, but eventually that's what this is going to be. Probably not for this blaster, but for the next one. Anyways, I still love how this functions. It is really cool. So we have the cartridge just sitting in the back here with everything in there. It's got the LiPo warner, the safety and everything. I'm going to put this down. Oh, it's too heavy. All right, and put back in here. Just had to quickly put it down on the table, as I said. Anyways, so we got the 3D printed compartment resting in the back here, and with the mag release you can get it out and back in nice and easy. And yeah, so that is the entirety of the build, the LS-72 VULCABREAKER Mk.III. It turned out to be an absolute beast. I really love how it turned out. It is such a comfortable build, and it is so epic to wield and shoot with. I can't wait to take this baby for a spin. So far, I've only seen the shooting range and the convention already. But yeah, this again, in all honesty, guys, this again sparked my passion for this work. And so I have other projects on the table that have already been started. I'm not going to tell you when they're finished, so to not put myself on a clock here, right? But I really do want to keep continuing this. So if you want to see more of that and you aren't already, subscribe to the channel and everything, because there's definitely going to be more of these kind of builds. So yes, that is it. Now, without any further ado, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. You've already been waiting and listening and doing and all the things. You're amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the LS-72 VULCABREAKER Mk.III. My name is Rainbow. This is the Rainbow Circus / Rainbow Creation channel. And yes, if you have any questions or comments, so leave them in the comments. I always read all the comments, and I'm super happy to get into a conversation with you guys. Any questions about the blaster integration, make sure to check out my other videos. I have tutorials on many of this. And yeah, if you watched this before May 27th this year, so in the next 3 days, go vote. Link is in the description. So yeah, go vote. Oh, excellent. How do we end this? It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to do this again. Until I see you next time, love and sunshine, my friends.